India's market news headquarters. Cutting-edge analysis. Influential insights. Market-moving intelligence. Broadcasting live from the CNBC TV18 Motilal Oswal studios in Mumbai.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. It's Tuesday morning. We're coming to you live as always from the CNBC TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleague Sonia and Rima. Guys, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Prashant. Good morning. It's been crazy, right? The last couple of weeks. Everyone's been in and out. Finally, get to meet both of you. But it's been good for the market as well. By and large, give and take a few things with respect to quant, etc. The market has been holding quite well.
Oh, absolutely. But I thought you guys would start with the India-Australia match. I thought that was top of mind.
Well, would have been top of mind, but I've had a crazy
24 hours.
No, but I think absolutely amazing, right? And those are visuals which are coming in. And Rohit Sharma, of course, really a man of the moment, powering India past Australia, as you can see. And really, I mean, of course, the top trend all over, if that is any measure of popularity and what really people are paying attention to. So that is essentially the news which is coming through. Well, we'll talk more about this one, sports, of course, but let's sort of pivot back to what you need to know as far as today's trading session is concerned. You've got, yesterday, which was a very strong day. The Nifty, very strong day, because if you got to take a look at not day on day, which is yesterday's close compared to the last close, but look at yesterday's close, 3:30 as compared to where the market was at 9:20 in the morning. And that basically was a 200-point difference. That's the bounce we saw from the day's lowest point, and we actually ended about 40-50 points in the green. Rotation continues, and it's a point we made yesterday in the morning as well. So it sometimes banks, actually last week it was banks, Nifty Bank was up 3.5%, but no follow through yesterday. Autos came back into the mix yesterday. PSUs did well, and they kind of, it was mixed. The CPSE index was up 0.5%, but PSU banks did not show any real momentum. Real estate. So there is a fair bit of rotation which is going on, and you got to be with the leader to be able to make money if you are playing the momentum game, because you got to stay with what's working. The overnight session doesn't really give us very much to work with. The Nasdaq was down about 1%. So, I mean, you could look at that and say it's a negative kind of a handover. But at the same time, you got the yields which came off about 3 basis points. We're at about 4.23. And more importantly, the dollar index is back at about 105.5. So you got the dollar, which is lower, and I think that should provide some relief overall. Oil prices, they are up though. They're up about 1% to over $86 a barrel mark. And that's why I said it's a little here, a little there, not really very conclusive in terms of what this means for us. It's very simple. I mean, for the Nifty, we are since so close to all-time highs. You essentially will watch for a break above the high of 23,667. Which will show that this corrective phase, and I'm only calling it a corrective phase because if you see the last 5 or 6 trading sessions going through last week as well, all of them have been red candles. I mean, the market basically is closed below where it opened, or even though it's drifted higher, literally drifted a little bit. So you got to take out the 23,667 mark, and that perhaps will give us a further boost. On the way down, the low of 23,350 will be the important support level. For the Nifty Bank, the low yesterday was 51,138, which will be important. By the way, the Nifty Bank saw no follow-through from last week, but in the last hour, I mean, it did give you a sense that maybe it'll look, maybe there is still more steam left. So keep an eye out on this one. Don't rule it out. Yesterday's low, 51,138, becomes important. That should be held. And upside will be confirmed when Nifty Bank also crosses the prior high, which is 51,957. Just one positive news flow from a macroeconomic standpoint, and this, of course, was from the RBI, which and the data told us that in the fourth quarter, which is January to March, India's current account swung to a surplus. It's now about 0.6, 0.7% of GDP. That is a big positive. It's a big positive, not just for macros and you and me, and we'll talk more about this with Lata later on, but also for the rupee. Rupee has, of course, been at all-time lows, and it does provide comfort in terms of future visibility about the currency pair against the USD. So more on this later, but that is unambiguously positive. The GIFT Nifty will come up on your screen. It's indicating a flattish 20-odd point higher start. guys.
Oh, absolutely. And, I think give and take everything, if you just look at the key level on the index, right, it's still closer to those all-time highs. So the buy on dips theory is something that continues to work. And I think that is something that the street is definitely focused on. Of course, we're looking at the here and the now, but if you look at just look at the ticker, buy on dips is a strategy that has continued. And the Nifty, if you look at it, if you map in the month of June, right, from the lows on the 4th of June, the Nifty is up 7.5%. So big moves coming in over there. The bank Nifty is now just 250 points away from that record high of 51,950. So the bulls continue to tighten their grip on this market for sure. Yesterday, though, both foreign and domestic investors sold in the cash market. So that is a little bit of a dampener, but not too much, you'd have to say. About 820 crores by DIIs, 650 by FIIs. In the US markets, there's been a bit of a sell-off, as Prashant was also pointing out. The US tech stocks have been under a bit of pressure. Nasdaq was down, not too much, but about 1% or so. And I think Nvidia has been the talk of the town after the kind of pressure that Nvidia saw. It's down 13% in the last 3 trading sessions after hitting that milestone of becoming the most valuable company in the world. So lots of, tugs, pulls between the bulls and the bears. But for now, the bulls continue to be on top. And lots of individual stocks in focus as well. We'll get to that later. But for now, things are looking good.
Oh, absolutely. Just on the point of Nvidia, if you remember, the fear was that if Nvidia goes down, will it take the market down with itself, spark a bit of a correction? But yesterday's price action in the US was comforting because while the Nasdaq was down 1.1%, the Dow managed to close up with a gain of about 260 points. So in a way, analysts there are talking about decoupling. And it's a good thing that you are seeing some sector rotation. If money is moving out of, the tech darling Nvidia and some of the technology stocks, and it's going into banks, utilities, like we saw yesterday, then perhaps it's classified as a good session. So the question now is that if sector rotation takes place, will the rest of the sectors in the US play catch up? And that will continue to keep the United States, index, the benchmark markets afloat. In terms of cues for our own market, it's a fairly light day. Today is the Nifty Financial Services Contract monthly expiry. So the FinNifty monthly expiry is today. The big telecom auction begins today. 96,000 crore is on offer, but it's expected to be a subdued auction this time because the earnest money which has been deposited by telcos is nearly 80% lower than what they had deposited in the previous auction, which was the 5G auction. So the expectation is it's going to be subdued, but in the past, the telecom auctions have managed to surprise us practically every single time. Also, you've got an IPO, a fairly big one, 1,500 crore Allied Blenders IPO, which opens today, which is a mix of 1,000 crore of fresh issue and 500 crore of an offer for sale. And from the United States, the consumer confidence economic data point is one that the street is watching. And the second one is Fed Governor Lisa Cook is going to be talking about the US economy.
Okay, lots to watch out for. But first up, let's kickstart the show with some cues for the day. Here are some money market views for you. Abhishek Goenka of India FX and Asset Management says the rupee hit an all-time low of 83.67 last week. But there was no follow-through move. He says with some support likely from the central bank and with the dollar broadly giving up gains, the rupee has retraced to the familiar 83.40 to 83.55 territory. He says the spillover impact from the yen weakness onto the yuan and subsequent pass-through to the rupee will be in focus as the yen approaches crucial support levels around 160. Until then, he expects the rupee to remain stable and expects it to trade in a range of 82.70 to 83.70.
On bonds, we got Vishal Goenka of IndiaBonds.com who says that the bond market remained range-bound with a lot of positive anticipation of JP Morgan index inclusion from the 1st of July already priced in. He says it does seem that inflation is not coming down rapidly and high growth projections remain intact with asset rallies that further cause inflationary pressures. He adds oil prices remain elevated and hence he expects yields to remain in a low volatility band in the medium term. He continues to see resistance and expects a 10-year yield between 6.95 to 7%.
We have lots of stock-specific action, which we'll get to in our special Top 10 segment. We're looking at Amara Raja, AU Small Finance Bank, RBL Bank, Borosil, Chemplast, Sanmar, Craftsman Automation, and these stocks could do well today. But the stocks which could be under pressure are Happiest Minds, All Cargo Gati, Bandhan Bank, RR Kabel. These are stocks which may open in the red.